So I started the day off clad in red. I intended to come to the show in red, but it ended in tears. Liverpool Football Club in the League Cup final against Newcastle United, and it's Newcastle picking up their first piece of silverware in over 50 years. Major silverware in over 50 years. Eddie Howe has answered the question, or at least one of the basic questions. Can he win with Newcastle United? That's just one piece of what happened this weekend. There's action in the Spanish La Liga that we will talk about. We'll talk about some action in the Italian Serie A as well. Let's do a quick turnaround. When we come back, I'll introduce my two good friends on the show, and then we'll get the show going. Welcome back to Scorecard here on Channel 1 TV. Let me introduce my two good brothers on the show, Susu Graham and Coach Christopher Nimli. Guys, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Charlie.
What's going on? I mean, for you as a United fan, good win today.
The game just finished, but it's about the day itself, Charlie. The people are honeysuckle. Today was one of our very best road shows.
Yep.
If Abeku could lose focus, then of course, that which made him lose focus.
No, you should calm down.
Gangantuan.
You need to calm down.
I'm telling you, you were there, I was there. You saw him when Abeku was giving his point. Some few things just passed in front of him. The man couldn't speak. I said, hey, focus. People, Ghana is listening to you. And Abeku was just there like that. Abeku, speak. He couldn't speak. Charlie, but that was very colorful.
Yeah.
It was very colorful. I didn't see that coming though. Oh, you had an idea that was going to happen?
Yes, I did. I mean, it was a pre-arranged package. The people at Carabao were on their A game as far as the League Cup was concerned. You know, that's their flagship competition.
Exactly.
So they put in a few efforts to make it, I mean, a good occasion. I think they did pretty well. Hopefully they'll be on a few other Channel 1 and Citi FM stuff. So that's all.
I just, the first time I saw it, I was wondering, what's this thing? So I did some research.
Basically, because it's
an energy drink from Thailand,
and
they are now getting to the market. So now sometimes when you go to like these clubs and bars and you want Red Bull, sometimes you don't have it and they bring because it's also an energy drink. Yes. So
and it took over the competition, I think, after Carling. So Carling were on it, and then Carabao have come on it. Over. So they're doing their thing.
I think will sleep good.
And it's good for us because, it's an energy drink, so we can advertise 24 hours in the day. It's not like
very
certain
important.
drinks. So,
very important. What's been up with you? Your good team, AC Milan, have been up to a few things. I feel like you like to detach from AC Milan just not to give yourself any
That's
headache.
one thing I really don't like about Susu. That's your team. Good or bad, is your team.
I don't have to suffer for suffering's sake.
He doesn't like to carry it on his sleeve.
You see, I like to watch my team when they are playing well, they are doing well. But when
they cannot play well all the time.
No, I get it, but you see, there's some certain level of playing well.
I understand.
I know that if I'm going to watch the game, I'm going to add some stress to my life. Because me, the way I'm the type of person, if I'm watching a match, the match starts and we're not playing well, I turn off the TV. And the reason I do this is I have a life outside the football. I have people I need to. I live with my parents. My girlfriend might want to talk to me. Then I'm going to watch football. Then I'm angry. And I'm putting it on other people because of their football. So I've decided that for everyone's sake, sometimes when the game is not going well, I'll just turn it off.
So practically what you are saying is that you enjoy watching some other team play, but not your team.
Not even I enjoy watching some other team play. I'm saying that when I'm watching AC Milan play and they start playing bad, I have to turn it off.
No.
Because I don't want to spoil my day. It's more about the fact that, and that's I think Coach thinks that I'm just not watching. No, it's because I have to think about the fact that I have other relationships. So
I get you.
AC Milan is not my life. So if they've made me angry,
I think that's a good enough reason.
If they made me angry, then I'm now snapping at everyone and this. It's not nice.
I get it.
No. It's more so that I'm protecting everyone. So.
You see, I understand it because I know how high AC Milan's standards were. I know how far off they've fallen. Like, they've now become a team that's basically feeding on the scraps of other teams.
Let me even tell you something. This season, I watched the first 2 games, right? I was doing my master's at the time, so I had to. I was writing my thesis. My thesis was due.
You went to Italy?
No, I said my thesis was due, so I had to find time to watch the game. I had to make time in my schedule, and I was watching the game. I saw what the coach was doing, and I knew that this year It's going to be a long game.
Yeah.
And I told myself at that point that I'm not going to watch a lot of matches. And it saved me.
Or else you will not finish the season.
I won't, because you watch the game, they'll play badly, then your whole day is just off.
Messed up.
Then you are trying to focus and think, so with this coach,
I think I have reached a certain level of detachment that allows me to watch football, agree that my team has been subpar, and basically just half puff a few seconds and move on after the game.
What's lucky for me is that I'm not a Premier League fan, and that's what I need to watch for work.
Yeah.
So I need to watch a lot of Premier League games, so I can watch it, and when someone's team is playing badly, I can analyze it and live my life. But when I have to take my free time to watch AC Milan and they start doing their things, I just say, you know what, I'll find something else. And they've been playing very, like, they will start badly,
inconsistent.
They will half and puff, but they'll win the game in the end. So it's looking like they are trying to draw me back in, but I won't be.
You won't fall for it.
No, I'll let the new coach come.
I like that. Let's get into the highlights. And one team I will enjoy analyzing or watching is Nottingham Forest. They are looking to finish in second place. The fixtures say it. The form guide says it. They were in good form over the weekend against Ipswich. Let's watch the highlights. So Nuno Espirito Santo doing a really great job at Forest, and it could be the biggest story of the Premier League. I mean, Liverpool and Slot are doing their thing, but this is as crazy a story as we could get. Talk to me about that. I mean, following like Nuno's career from Portugal, Wolves, Spurs, now at Forest, what he's doing with the men he has. How far do you think this can go?
I think this is a Champions League team based on what you've seen this season. I believe that when you look at Nuno's career, he was at Wolves. They did win the championship. He came to the Premier League. He got them to about 7th. They went to like the Europa League or whatever. He has them. He's a guy who you give him a team, you have them play solid football. They'll be solid defensively. They won't concede a lot. They'll be good on the counter. And I believe when he went to Spurs, the problem is they wanted a bit more attacking football. It just didn't fit the club DNA. So
if I remember correctly, he was like their 5th or 6th option.
Yeah, exactly, and it just didn't work out. So I think then he went to Saudi. I don't know much of what he did there. Unfortunately, that one is a blind spot for me. But he's come back to the Premier League and he's shown that look, he's still a quality coach. Forest have been the surprise package because if we've looked at Forest was 17th last season. Points deduction after all the turmoil.
They were messing with relegation the whole
buying all
season.
those players. Eventually, they finished. Regardless of the point deduction, about 10, they got 10 points more than Luton, but because of the point deduction, they have been about 6 in the end, finished 17th. Everyone's like, okay, you get Nuno in comfortable mid-table. That's probably where you're going to go. So no one saw this coming, but look, it's a great story. And I'll be very happy to see them in the Champions League because the way the Champions League is and the way their record is set up, they're not going to be one of the seeded teams. They're going to have to be probably in pot 4, the way it's looking, which means there'll be a lot of games against teams that fancy themselves against Forest, and that will play into their hands because if they sit back, play on the counter, and they'll get better players for sure. You know, there are some places this team can definitely improve. You're thinking to yourself, can they get a better right back? Can they get a better left back? Maybe even a better keeper because this keeper is a short-stopping keeper. Maybe you want someone who's maybe a bit better across.
About Zels?
Exactly. This squad has room for improvement. Even an upgrade on Chris Wood, for example. Because
who have you liked the most in their team on that score?
I think I'll say the midfield players in Elliot Anderson and Gibbs White. I know they weren't called up for England, and I think that was an oversight by Thomas Tuchel. But I believe when you look at those two players, especially Gibbs White, he was signed for a decent amount of money. I believe it was £30 million, £25 million from Wolves. People ask themselves, what is this guy come to do? And he's showing his level. I think Elliot Anderson has been very good. Signed from Newcastle. People are wondering what he's going to do. And even Hudson-Odoi and Elanga, I think those are two guys who are very underrated. We didn't really expect that much of them, but they are doing a lot of good work. So I think, look, when I talk about Nottingham Forest, it's difficult to single out a single player. Chris Wood has scored a lot of goals because everyone is performing well. Everyone is performing above expectations. It's just beautiful to watch. But you wonder how these guys will cope when there's more games. You are playing in Europe. You know, some other new players will come in, of course. So it's going to be an interesting one. But I think Nottingham Forest fans, they should enjoy this season. They are still in the FA Cup. There's still a chance for silverware. So I think they're in a very good place.
Coach?
Look, without a doubt, like you rightly said, they are the surprise package of the season.
Yeah.
Nobody gave them any chance.
Nope.
I didn't. You didn't. I don't remember.
In fact, they were beaten for relegation.
Exactly. And for him to have done, and he keeps doing, that is the surprise part of the whole thing. No? After the first 19 games, some of us thought reality would dawn on them because we know their level. But look at the sustained quality that they've kept in the league. They gave Man United a sound beating. They did so well against teams like Liverpool.
But Liverpool's only defeat this season in the league has come to Forest.
Exactly.
And they beat Brighton very
They beat Brighton very comfortably. Is it 7-0, 5-0?
Yes,
And if you look at their brand of football, like I said on radio some few weeks ago, Nuno is not doing anything spectacular. He's playing to the strength of the team. Because the strength of this Forest team is to get them to set and play on the counter. They've got decent pace
on the wings.
Yeah. So they lure you into believing that you can dominate them. That is what they want you to do.
I believe Elanga is the second fastest player in the Premier League this season.
Exactly. That is what they want you to do. And when you play into their hands, their midfielders are not passing the ball to feet. They are putting the ball in space. Elanga, Hudson-Odoi, these two guys have got, and they've got a very big striker who can hold it up when they are under incessant pressure. They go direct to him. He holds it up and bring the others into the game. If you are a team and you've got this level of attacking variation, you can always expose your opponent.
Yeah.
I'm so happy for him. And for him, when he left or when he got fired at Spurs, most people looked down upon him. In fact, I was one of those persons who looked at him and said,
it really damaged his reputation as a manager.
And when he took the
And then
job,
he took the Saudi job.
I said, boy, maybe he understands that.
He actually was at Al Ittihad, I
Yes.
think.
He won the league though.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
He wasn't doing badly, and
but
then
you-
this offer came
No, but
along.
you see, you win the league at Al Ittihad in Saudi.
Nobody
Nobody's going to care.
about that. Nobody regards that. But when the offer came, don't forget, at the time, Forest was struggling. They brought him in. The point deduction brought some form of pressure. But he was able to guide them, handle it, trust in them, guided them through last season. Now, when this season started, nobody gave them any chance. And I remember their first 4, 5, 6 fixtures were very difficult games. But they stood their ground, dominated, and they prevailed. I can only congratulate them. They are playing not the sort of football you want to watch, but if you understand football like I do, they are the team I will always want to go and watch.
I actually enjoy watching them.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
I don't necessarily
Most people
enjoy
may-
watching possession-heavy football.
I'm the same. I'm not too wedded to. I need a team to pass a lot. I like.
I don't.
In fact, it's nice when teams do different things. If
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
all playing like Pep Guardiola,
Exactly.
it's boring.
It's boring.
And it's nice to know that there are still managers who can put their imprint on a team.
Exactly.
Get the team
And
to play
move
to your
away-
identity.
Move away from everybody trying to mimic
Yeah.
and copy
Yeah.
as one brand of football. No, we need this type of variation.
It's great when
as
it's
coaches,
successful.
when you go, I need to think for you, or I need to begin to be put to the test, because
Yeah.
coaching is all about thinking, being pragmatic, being proactive as the game is ongoing. And he's shown that as the game goes on, he's able to tweak, tactically adjust his team and get them to play to their strength.
Next season, though, I wonder, because now people will see them as a top team.
Yep.
People are going to know
Is it-
what they want to do. So,
If
are
their
people
brand-
going to give them the ball more? How is it going to play out?
That is what I'm saying. That for us, the manager is a smart manager. He will not go to Liverpool, go to Man City, go to the big teams.
This is his
and think
identity.
He can
and
rub
he
shoulders
has
with them.
stayed true to
So,
himself.
of course, but I'm thinking more about the teams closer to their level who might be like,
You know,
let's use Bryce as an
I feel
example.
like all that will also be dependent on what they try to do in the off-season.
Exactly.
What players
And in
are
the
they
transfer
buying?
market.
What kind of quality of players are leaving the team?
And how they handle
No, I
the
think-
Champions League
I
in
think
out
they'll
balance.
definitely buy players for Nuno. I think he's earned that right.
Mm-hmm.
But you are wondering to yourself, if you're a team like, let's give Newcastle or Bournemouth, and you are playing Forest next season, you know what they are going to do. You are going to be a bit more cautious. You are not going to try and take the game to them and those type of things.
Yeah.
How would they adjust to having to have a bit more of the ball, having to be a bit more take a bit more
Teams
control.
do a lot more planning for you. They spend a lot more time. It'll be interesting.
Because look at Newcastle and Aston Villa. They both go to the Champions League. Teams got a bit more wise to what they were doing.
And Aston Villa
are struggling a bit this season.
They have more.
Newcastle struggled a bit last season.
Fair.
So it's just changing your position, changing the league from being a team everyone thinks that, we can get at them and beat, to a team that everyone's like, these guys are good. Let's show them that respect. It changes the dynamic.
I guess that's the interesting part. So, good part is we all get to observe how Forest actually finish the season. Can they finish second? Can they finish third? Or would they have a free fall? About 10 games, 9 games to end the campaign for most teams. Let's see how it goes. But Nuno started buying a lot of Portuguese-speaking players. Murillo, Morato.
That one started before.
All for Portugal. Yeah. So it gives us a bit of a window into what they might try to do. Maybe all those Sporting and Benfica and Porto standout players will end up coming to England. Let's go to Fulham. They were in good form when they were up against Spurs. Spurs have been all over the place, winning one time, not winning the other time. Let's get the highlights of this one. Disappointing results for Spurs fans. I'm sure they're probably used to it by now. I mean, don't be mad at me. Coach, I'm not sure who you are more disappointed in or who you are more impressed with regards to this game.
I think I'm happy for Marco Silva. I think he's got something to play for in this league. The fact that there is some form of European football back on it. When you see Fulham play, you know that they have a target.
If they put together around the Europa League,
I think they are also still in the FA Cup.
Yes, they are in the semi-finals of the FA Cup, quarterfinals of the FA Cup. So if they can win that, or they can get a respectable position in the league, right now, I think up to 6, 7 play in the Conference League.
Well, the top 5 have confirmed for the Champions League. The top 8 are going to Europe. So it looks like
a lot of places up for grabs.
It will be 6th and 7th Europa League based on the FA Cup winner, and then 7th. Well, no, 7th. Yes.
So 6th and 7th taken.
Yeah, and then 8th. But also depending on the cup winner. So I think 8th right now.
That's a lot of slots.
Newcastle have the Conference League spot, but they are very likely to finish in the top 8, which means a team in the league might be able to pick up that position.
There you go. So on the part of Fulham, they've got a lot to play for. And I was happy they could beat Spurs. In fact, they were very dominant in that second half in particular, where you saw the quality of the goals. 2 very good goals. I think the second goal was a spectacular goal. Nobody saw Sessegnon using his right foot. He's very left-footed.
Very strict.
And for him to have scored against his former team, I think it was brilliant. But on my good friend's part, Posh, look, I don't know what he's trying to do. I think he should behave like Amorim is behaving.
You mean Postecoglou?
Yeah, Postecoglou. He should behave like Amorim is behaving. If we look at what Man United are trying to do, they clearly understand that there's absolutely nothing to play for in this league. So that Europa Cup can be a massive transformation for Spurs and United. I think Postecoglou will have to be smart enough to see that he should begin to rest some of his key players to get them ready for the Europa Cup quarterfinals and possibly semi-finals. If he cannot do that and he keep asking them to play this very high, intense, octane sort of football, and the team gets worsened by further injuries, then I don't know. At the end of the day, when the league is over and his job is looked at and they were to put 1+1, do a proper evaluation and assessment of his job, he could end up losing his job. But on the whole, I think Fulham deserve to beat Spurs today.
And just to add, if United or Spurs win the Europa League, that's an extra Champions League place, because they are not finishing in the top 5 for sure. We all know. So it's also good for the league if they do well. So they themselves, they have an interest to help themselves, because...
So I'm guessing this is because of a coefficient build-up based on how Premier League teams have been doing.
Yes, because what they do now is that the 2 best performing leagues in Europe get an extra place in the Champions League. And so if an English team wins 1 game in the next round of games, they've automatically, which is possibly very likely to happen, they are going to secure their place. I think it's looking like they and Spain will get the extra place. So they're getting 5 Champions League places, which also helps you in the next season. So it helps you for everyone for next season, because it means that playing for 5th is viable rather than playing for 4th. So I think for everyone involved, it's good to get your extra places in the league, do well, And I think they should focus on it, because if you are Spurs, you've not won a trophy since 2008.
Yeah,
it would be good. If you are Manchester United, you have all these financial problems you're hearing. Getting the Champions League can alleviate some of these
that
issues.
brings in an extra 100 million.
It does.
Yeah, so I think for both teams, it should be a priority. And when I look at the other teams in the Europa League, I don't think there's any team that they should fear. I think when you look at them player for player, coach for coach, there's no they
should be able to win it.
They should be able to win it. It's very winnable. So I think both teams should prioritize Europe, and they should take it seriously.
Talk to me a little bit about Fulham before you move it on. I feel like they might probably need to bolster their team because they have good European prospects as well. They are not out of the picture. A Conference League, a Europa League is in the horizon for them, or it's on the horizon for them. Can they make it happen? Can they even hold on to their manager after this season?
Those are very good questions, because I'm looking at Spurs. If Spurs don't win the Europa League, I don't think there's any reason to keep Ange Postecoglou.
Exactly.
Because the league performance has been abysmal. Their cup performances have not really been impressive. So you have to ask yourself, what can he use to say, give me another chance in the job? Because at the end of the day, it's a results business.
Yeah.
You look at someone like Amorim, he came in the middle of the season. Even though results are not good, if he doesn't win the Europa League, he can say that, look, this is not my team, give me my players.
His owner backed him big time in a recent interview.
And as you should, because you bring someone in the middle of the season, you have to back him. But Postecoglou has had 2 summer windows. He's been backed.
Important to point out.
He's been given players. So if this is what you are giving us after 2 summers, we have to ask ourselves, are you using our money properly? Are you the man for the job? So for him, the Europa League is very important. I don't think they'll win it, truth be told. I think they will do their best. I still think they are very capable, but I just don't think they'll win it, because I don't think they play smart enough. I think in Europe, you have to be able to modulate. You have to know when to go 100 miles an hour. You have to know when to go 10. And I think because they only know how to go 100, that will cost them in Europe. And I think we've seen teams that go 100 miles an hour all the time. In Europe, they usually come unstuck, because the tactical, nuances of these two-legged ties, knowing when to attack, knowing when to defend, knowing when to hold, knowing when to be calm. You need those things. And when you don't have that, it makes it very difficult to succeed in Europe. So I think Postecoglou will be out. So talking about Fulham, if Fulham get 8th and they go to the Conference League, that's a nice little bit of income. They might buy some players.
Yep.
And if you look at the way Marco Silva manages this team, he's pragmatic. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. Knowing when to go 100 miles an hour, knowing when to go 10, knowing when to play defensive, knowing when to play offensive. They have some games, he's like, okay, this team is better than us. Let me play an extra fullback. Let me play an extra defender. Let me take out an attacking player. Let me move Iwobi here. He plays for the game. He's not one of those coaches. He's not one of those philosophy coaches that has, we play 4-4-3 every week. We are going to pass out of the back. It doesn't matter how much they press us. He doesn't do that. He just looks at the opposition and says, this is how we are going to play. And if you look at that, that's the type of coach you think, maybe he deserves a chance at a better team. So I think the Spurs job is a job quite a few guys will be looking at. I think Iraola, Marco Silva, a lot of those guys who are with teams who are just around that level where you expect Spurs to be where they are not.
Yeah. And
who are quote-unquote overachieving. Spurs will be looking at those guys. So I think the Spurs job is opening up very nicely for a few managers. So they are low-key auditioning for their job. And you can add Thomas Frank to that. They might not be performing quite as well, but how he's kept Brentford in the Premier League and made them a solid Premier League team is also commendable.
A lot of managerial openings will pop up towards the end of the campaign or in the summer. I expect a lot of that to happen. But for Marco Silva, I think he deserves his flowers because he's lost a lot of big players. His competency has been called into question on can he manage without these players. He's replaced them with less fancy names and he's still gotten the results. More to come. We have Manchester City versus Brighton. Really good game over the weekend. Brighton will be kicking themselves for not winning it. There's Arsenal versus Chelsea as well. So stay with us here on Scorecard. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Scorecard here on Channel 1 TV. I'm sure you're wondering why I'm beaming. I'm happier than I was when we went for the break. I'll tell you about that a little later on in the show. Let's carry on with more highlights and more analysis. This time, let's go to the Etihad and let's get to one of the games I enjoyed more this weekend. Manchester City versus Brighton and Hove Albion. Lots to unpack on that particular game. Let's get the highlights. So Manchester City points again. they are top. So they went from contesting for the title to contesting for a Champions League slot, and that is even looking shaky. Let me talk to you first of all, Susu, about Manchester City and what they are doing. So Mamouche created the goal that led to the penalty. He got the penalty for them and scored the second, but in the end, it wasn't enough because they couldn't pick up 3 points.
Yeah, and we've been speaking about how they just don't look as solid defensively. And if you watch if we had more extended highlights and you had seen the second half, all the second half highlights were Brighton highlights.
True.
It's like there was nothing interesting Man City did in the second half.
In fact, in that first half, Minter and I think it's Rata.
He had a ball that he he just slid past. I don't know what
he had like 2 moments where he just dinged into the box, and his finishing and composure just let him down.
There was one they played across. He kind of tried to, instead of sliding for it, I don't know what he did.
I'm not
it's
sure
like
what
he went with both feet and he went through the gap.
They could easily have been 3-1 up in the first half, played a really good second half. In the end, they just couldn't wrap it up.
Yeah, no. So it was a difficult watch if you're a Man City fan, but I have to say, I don't know what is going on. I don't know whether it's confidence, because there was a stat that they've lost 15 of their last 30 games.
Yep.
And the time it took them to lose 15 games before that, it went back to 2021. So it just shows you how little Man City used to lose. They used to lose what? That means 5-6 games a season.
You don't lose games.
Yeah, 5-6 games a season, max.
Yeah.
And now you have a team that's losing 15 games in a season. It's just not like them. So you have to wonder what's going on. You have to wonder where the issue is. Because I can't say it's just Rodri, because we've seen them with and without Rodri. The team, he was able to build a system. So I'm wondering what has gone wrong aside Rodri. I know there were injuries.
I think you pointed it out before on the show about how they didn't spend money prudently, how the rebuild should have kicked in probably a little earlier. And if you notice what they've been doing from the last off-season and this January, they just give you the sense that they are really trying to roll over players who are not helping their cause as quickly as possible.
That's true, but it's like every player has dropped off a cliff at the same time, and you don't see it happen a lot. So it's just very difficult to watch. And I think it's made Pep Guardiola look a lot worse than we. A lot of people have a lesser estimation of him for sure, and you can't blame them, because you are just surprised by how poorly the team is playing and how he looks out of ideas to fix the problem. I still think they'll make it to the Champions League. I think fifth is not beyond them. I think that the fact that this is fifth means they can manage. I think that there's a lot of teams that, just because of player quality, you have Haaland, you still have De Bruyne, you still have Doku and Savio able to do 1 or 2 things on the wing. Mamouche is showing some levels. I still think there's enough for them to get something and finish fifth. But I think this somehow the rebuild will continue.
Why not fourth? You think fourth is?
I said get fifth, as in being the top
Champions
5. Just say generally being the top 5. I'm not saying that they'll finish fifth.
At least in the Champions League.
Yeah, I think finishing the top 5, it will definitely happen. But I think considering a team that won 4 titles in a row, we expected that one day they won't win the title. But for them to defend their title like this, it's very disappointing. Yeah. It's reminding me a bit of the Leicester team, who did not defend their title very convincingly. This isn't as bad, of course, because that Leicester team finished in mid-table, but this is very disappointing for sure.
Coach, 2 questions, right? Do you think that they can finish in a Champions League spot? And secondly, are people justified in calling Guardiola's reputation into question despite his winning record in the face of what we are seeing this season?
So I'll answer the second question first. Nobody dares. Nobody. You don't question the quality of that manager. Surely he cannot be winning every year. He can't. I mean, he's human. A time will come where he needs to accept the fact that, after all, I'm not the boss. It means I need to challenge myself and come and do even better. As humans, whatever you find yourself doing, especially if it is a form of competition, and you are the one winning, at times it's a bit deceptive, and you are not able to improve yourself if you are always winning. But there are times where the one who always wins is not actually the best. So I like what he's experiencing. This is the first time he's gone through such a situation. So he'll go back at the end of the season, look at himself and say, look, knowing him and how he pays attention to details and how he wants his team or his work to showcase itself. I'm sure people will look at it and see where he's not done well and come back and do better. So nobody dares him. You don't dare or you don't call out such a manager. This manager, he's done something that has never been done in the most competitive league in the world, so you don't doubt him. But on the first question, clearly if they want to qualify for Champions League, this downtrend will have to end.
Let me just read you out his fixture. So in the league, he has Leicester City to come.
A game they'll win.
Man United right after that.
A bit dicey.
Palace.
No,
Everton.
The way Palace are playing right now, I think Palace will beat
It's
them.
a very tricky game.
Yeah.
So they have Palace to play. They have Everton after that. They have Villa, Wolves, Southampton, Bournemouth, and Fulham.
I think, look,
I think Southampton.
the Southampton game they will win.
Bournemouth and Fulham are very tricky games.
The Leicester game, I expect them to win.
Wolves as well.
Wolves, I expect them to win. But the Bournemouth, Fulham, Palace, the United game.
It's 4 games.
Those games
But luckily for them, those are teams around them. So if they get a good result,
keeps them in the match.
it helps them a lot.
Clearly,
12 points.
Clearly, they have to begin to play better. They cannot allow this downtrend of results to continue. We watched the game. We did the game on radio. And for me, I was so disappointed in the fact that they couldn't stamp the authority. You see, there are times where one of the beef I've had with Pep Guardiola is at times the lack of respect that he tend to show to some of his opponents. We all know this Brighton team, they are a footballing team.
Yeah.
And looking at where Man City is at the moment,
Yeah.
Brighton will look at them and say, look, these guys, we can go toe-to-toe with them.
No, look, to be honest,
And if you watch the game, they did exactly that.
they created more quality chances. I think their finishing let them
on
down.
So on the face of what we witnessed, we all sitting here do agree that Brighton were the better team.
They were the better team. They should have won the game.
They should have won the game. So if you are Pep Guardiola, that is where the concern will have to be.
Yeah.
So what then should he be doing? He should be tweaking it a bit. You see, what I've never liked about him is the fact that when he's got a lead to protect, during this downward trend, he's done nothing to protect that lead. He still do believe the best way to protect the lead is to take charge of the object and dominate it. Yes, you can afford to do that if you've got the players to do that.
Yeah.
But look at what is happening. I think one major problem is the fact that certain players in that Man City team are very much aware of the fact that they are leaving the team. De Bruyne.
I think Bernardo Silva might be gone.
Bernardo Silva. I think John Stones with his
Even the
injury
goalkeeper
record.
has a question mark over his head.
Because he keeps changing
Exactly.
And
They've
those
rotated him a lot this season.
and if you look at all the names I've mentioned over the years, during the time where he's done all the achievement that he's done, these were the leaders.
Yeah.
These were the leaders in that dressing room.
True.
So Kevin
Bernardo
De
Silva has
Bruyne,
been agitating to leave for the last two
two
seasons.
seasons, Kevin De Bruyne walks into the dressing room and he knows, after all, I'm not going to be here in the next 1 month or so. So he's not straight. Remember there was a game where we saw he's their best set piece taker.
Yeah.
And he wasn't taking
And he wasn't taking set piece when he was
I think
on
it was
the
the
pitch.
Liverpool game.
Exactly. And I was asking,
In fact, what
what
was
is
even interesting is that in this game, I think he came on to play like 10 minutes.
10 minutes?
And that's interesting because you're out of the Champions League.
Yeah.
You only have an FA Cup to play.
At
Why
least-
is De Bruyne playing 10 minutes?
And so if you look at the body language of Bernardo Silva, De Bruyne, and Gundogan, and those people, they don't mind anymore. They are not concerned about what. And if you are a manager of the quality of Pep Guardiola, I think he needs to take a decision. It's either he plays them and demand from them, or he puts them on the side and start the rebuild. It may cost them. I'm sure if care is not taken, it may cost them. That is why he's so indecisive as to what to do and what not to do. But look, it would be so much of an embarrassment if this Man City team with this quality
Can't make a Champions
can
League.
make a Champions League.
I think it's very much up for discussion. It's a salient discussion to have, but also I want to say a big shout out to Fabian Hezela and Brighton and Hove Albion.
Man.
They have changed managers, and I don't think enough people are giving Brighton credit for how
Very
much
young manager. This is his first.
they've had injuries. They've had to rotate squad and all of that.
Maybe I'll pour some sand in the Gary that
No, for real.
over the summer window they spent a lot of
They
money.
did
They
spend
spent
a
like
lot of money.
150 million.
I'll look at the sort of players they buy, and whoever is in charge of that recruitment, I salute them. They sold Caicedo.
Yeah.
I think Baleba
Yeah.
is a better footballing DM.
He actually is.
Look, when he picks up the ball, the confidence with which he drives.
All he needed to do yesterday was Saturday
he
was
could have
trying to
taken,
come with the
he
finish.
could have taken a touch. He
And
could have
look at
taken a touch.
Mente.
Yeah.
Who recommended Mente to them?
Yeah, he was at Newcastle. Newcastle sent him on loan to the Eredivisie.
Yeah.
I think it was Feyenoord.
Feyenoord
And then he
or
came
something.
back and then they sold him to Brighton.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
That was a wrong move. Newcastle will be looking at
but-
Mente now and saying,
But you see, Newcastle, part of their problem was the PSR rules. So
Yeah, so they had to
so
sell.
that's why they
move-
also
they
sold
needed to move
Anderson
money.
as well.
That's
true.
Elliot Anderson as well.
I'm sure that was why they sold.
Because if you think about it, there's no reason why Minter won't be starting over Jacob
all.
Murphy.
At all.
No
Yeah.
disrespect to Jacob Murphy, because
But
he's had a
Minter
very
is a
good
better
season.
True.
But
But
Minter
Minter
will
is
be
the
there.
No, but thoughts on Herzella though, like the work he's done, because he's a new manager in the Premier
And
League.
look, this
He's the
is
youngest manager in the
This is
Premier
his
League.
first top flight season as a manager.
Yes.
He came from
And-
Bundesliga too.
And you
So-
see, what he has done so smartly is the fact that he did not dismantle the philosophy
Of De Zerbi.
of De Zerbi. Brighton, De Zerbi came, he built on what Potter did. This man has come in there. He's acknowledged the playing style. Their style is not different, as we see now,
Yeah.
from what we saw under De Zerbi. So once the recruitment team is in charge, they clearly understand the brand of football they want to showcase.
Yeah.
They went for a manager who they believe will accept that brand of football. And whenever they go to buy the players, any player Brighton buys, he comes, he fits into the system.
Yeah.
Look at Mente. Look at all these young guys that they've brought, Baleba and Co. They are playing as if they've been with the team for 3-4 years. And that should be credited to
the
the
manager.
recruitment team.
And that's because it's a well-run club. They
Yes.
probably, when they look at a manager, they look at what the
They think
manager
about all
is
those
doing
things.
and compare to what they are doing.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't fit, they won't
They
hire.
don't hire.
They won't hire Nuno Espirito Santo.
No, they won't.
Despite how well he's doing,
I understand
because
that.
they have a way
And I
they are
respect
playing.
that.
And like you said about their recruitment, they are willing to take risks.
Yes.
Because Baleba cost 30 million.
Yes.
But he
That's a
has
lot-
only-
that's a lot of money.
But he had not played a lot of games at Lille. I don't think he had played up to 50 games
he
at Lille
hasn't. He
before they paid 30 million for him. So a lot of clubs will ask themselves, 30 million for this guy
And I remember-
who's barely played
Yep.
games.
I remember
But here
when
we
they
are now,
sold
it's 100.
Caicedo for that 100+ million and they bought Baleba.
Yeah.
I remember the statement they made. They said he is better than Caicedo. Look, if Baleba can stay fit, I think they will sell him for over 220 million.
It's possible.
And
Lots of-
considering
lots of-
that we sold Enzo
Yeah.
for a similar amount of money, and look at the football Enzo
So
is
he's
playing,
playing.
it's a very easy sell. So
I'm keen to see where Brighton and Hove Albion finish for the season, but they have served up some good football this campaign. Let's go to the biggest game in the Premier League this season, and it was between Arsenal and Chelsea. Generally gauging sentiment on the ground, a lot of people were underwhelmed by the quality on display by both teams. Really, people felt like these two teams need to sit up and be better up and doing, because they have not shown the quality that you think Arsenal and Chelsea will bring to the table. Let's get the highlights. We'll come back in studio and discuss. So Arsenal and Chelsea Football Club serving up a really ball fest, if you are going to be honest. Not what you expect from a London derby. Let me start off with you. Are you worried about the direction these two teams are going in with regards to choices they've made with recruitments, choices with managers, and generally how next season looks for them?
I wouldn't be worried if I'm Arsenal. I think if you're Arsenal, things are going very well. You can say that, okay, injuries have let us down and that kind of stuff. There's credible reasons to say that this season didn't go our way. If you're Chelsea, you should be very worried, because Chelsea has spent £2 billion since these new owners have come. And look at the team
What,
they
3
put in.
seasons or 2.5 seasons?
Basically, you spend £2 billion. If Nicolas Jackson doesn't play, you can't attack. Because this attacking slump started before Palmer got hit. So
Yep.
if Nicolas Jackson doesn't play, you can't start. And Nicolas Jackson,
Who would have thought that we'll be saying Jackson was the live wire to Chelsea's attack?
you are looking at a goalkeeping department which is one of the worst in the league. Robert Sanchez has made, before the match, had made 7 errors.
Individual errors.
Second most in the league. I'm sure after this match, he will be the first. He will overtake Vardio, who has 8. There's no way after this match he does not have more errors, because we saw him. He was horrible. You look at the centre backs. I've been complaining about Levi Colwill.
Yeah.
And I asked myself, is Levi Colwill the worst centre back I've seen play for Chelsea? And I remembered Disasi and Badiashile, who are supposed to be his backups, are worse. So Levi Cole was probably the worst starting centre back I've seen play for Chelsea since about 2004.
That's actually crazy
and
because they have been a lot of centre backs.
Which centre back can you remember
Chelsea
starting
have
for
had great centre backs,
starting
actually.
for Chelsea who was as bad as Levi Cole?
Carvalho, Ivanovic, Alex. They've had really good centre backs.
Every game Levi Cole plays, you ask yourself, why is this guy on the pitch? It's so disappointing. Then even the attack. Look at Jadon Sancho. I saw a stat that Jadon Sancho hasn't completed a cross or got a shot on target in 2025. How? How?
No, stop.
No,
You understand what?
This was about a week ago or
He's
something.
rather tweeting that somebody has been freed.
Coach, you relax. Like, when you look at Chelsea and the amount of money they spent, and they've gone to buy, you see they spent, is it 75 million on another 17-year-old winger? This recruitment is ridiculous. It's football manager business that you plug and play these teenagers and they all become good. It doesn't work like that. Buy some players who are ready to play now. You can't tell me that your keeper every other week is going to make a mistake. Because if you are telling me your keeper has made 8 errors this season,
That's
right?
every other game.
8 errors this season, you played 28 games. That's not good enough because
almost every other game.
no, it's very scary, and that's the issue with Chelsea's recruitment. You spent £2 billion and you are not competing for the title. You don't even look a lock for the Champions League. Because if you go and look at their last few games, there's Nottingham Forest in there.
They've got some tough games.
Yes,
That's why I was telling you that. I was telling
Liverpool,
somebody that
they play Forest,
if
they
you
play
take,
United,
if you
they
take,
play Fulham, they play Tottenham.
if you take Liverpool and maybe even Forest themselves out the picture, 3rd, 4th, 5th, it's a toss-up for all the teams in that bracket.
Yes.
It's up.
No,
it's
seriously,
up in the
Chelsea
air.
are in very bad shape, and it's made worse by how much money they spend.
Yeah.
It'd be different if this board came in and had not spent money, and you're saying that they've not bought it, but they keep buying players. Look at Enzo and Caicedo. You spend that much money on them, and you don't even know what to do with
The
Enzo.
2 players is over 200 million.
They had a £300 million midfield today and could not create a decent chance.
Look at that. In Kunku, you can just keep mentioning their flaws, but they'll tell you there's a project, there's idea.
They have one of their flops on loan at your beloved AC Milan.
Charlie, don't talk about that guy. And even that guy buying him, he came on loan. He didn't do anything on loan.
Oh my goodness.
And do you know why they bought him? They needed to give Atletico money so Atletico could pay for Conor Gallagher. So they bought João Felix. Their whole strategy is warped. So for me, Chelsea, I think, and I was very excited when Chelsea came with their new owners. I admit it, because I thought these were people with interesting ideas. Remember, he suggested All-Star game.
Yep.
I thought that, okay, this is someone who has
Thinking
interesting
outside the
ideas
box.
for the league, thinking outside the box. But clearly, it shows that when it comes to marketing, maybe they should stick to that. But the football, they have no idea what they are doing.
The
So
standard of Abramovich, the standard that he set,
He'll be sad watching this team right now.
I'm sure he's crying in his
Oh,
room.
of course.
You know, one thing about Sancho I saw this week, apparently, so the loan was supposed to be an obligation to
And
buy.
now Chelsea are
are
starting to-
getting cold feet. They
Nah,
want to actually go
but
back
at
on
the
their
end
word
of the
of
day,
buying.
Of course
if
they
they have a
would.
cold fee, they'll pay £15 million free.
Yeah, I think there's a penalty to pay.
There's a
if they- if they
£25
go
million
back.
pound to pay to United if you accept. If they decide to step out, they throw £15 million away.
And United don't want him back either.
And United will take the 15 million
And sell him.
and then sell him for another 10 or 15 million.
And you see, the problem with Sancho right now is the way he's playing. What team will want him?
That is the issue.
And look, I'm not trying to single him out, but there's so many players. You see Chelsea buying them. Look at their centre back. They play Badiashile, Cole, and
Disasi
Fofana.
today.
Disasi was in the.
No, yeah, he's gone to Aston
Aston
Villa.
Villa.
I watched him and I asked myself, was it a coaching?
Yeah, he looks a completely
You know
different
what,
player.
Coach, thank you for bringing this up. I've focused too much on the recruitment. Let me focus on the coach.
Exactly.
The coach is not serious. He's not serious. Because
Moresca.
Enzo Maresca.
he's not
Yes, of
serious.
course.
Because all these mistakes Sanchez is making, he will tell you that he's okay with it because that's how he wants
He's
Sanchez to
reposed
play.
faith in him in the media about 3 times already.
My issue is that when the keeper is making so many mistakes, he's clearly not suited for what you are asking him to do. So why don't you take a step back? And this is why I always talk about pragmatism in coaches and philosophy coaches. And he was actually who I was thinking of when I was talking about what I like about Marco Silva.
Yeah.
This philosophy that you say that your team is playing a certain way, that if Enzo plays a pass forward, I'll take him off. If Sanchez goes long, I'll take him off. You have to also allow the players to be pragmatic. They are not robots. Certain situations, if you play short, you have problems. That's why Sanchez is making all these mistakes. That's why a lot of these mistakes happen. The coach is not helping them. The coach is a big part of the problem.
Yeah.
And if Chelsea are being honest with themselves, they should cut their losses when they can with Enzo Maresca.
You see, the problem is that
he's not going to get the best out of the players. The players themselves, there's a lot of question marks around them. So there's just so much going on wrong at Chelsea. It makes me wonder, makes me fear for the club. Because like you said, and like you said, Abramovich's standard, this was a team that when they have a bad season, they'll go to the FA Cup final.
Yeah.
They'll finish third and go to the FA Cup
in fact,
final. They'll finish fourth and win the Europa League.
The biggest drought they would go through in an Abramovich era was one season.
One season. Two seasons. Like, hey, what's going on?
Yeah, they don't do 2 seasons.
Things don't go well. They'll change their manager. They'll do another league challenge. They'll win something.
They'll win at least a league cup.
No, so seriously, like I'm not happy with what I'm seeing from Chelsea at all, especially considering the money they spent. If they had spent a quarter of that money, I'd be a lot more forgiving. I'd say, look, they've not strengthened in key positions, but they bought about 5 or 6 players for every position. And you're looking at this team, and I think to yourself, is this team even the 4th or 5th best team in England?
Wow.
It makes you can't even answer that question definitively. So no, Chelsea.
Coach, I throw the same question to you for both teams. Do you like the direction in which Arsenal and Chelsea are heading?
So I agree with Sasu when on everything he said about what
Arsenal
as Chelsea.
Chelsea.
But I disagree with him. I think Arsenal are going to have some difficult times. If you understand the way football cycle works, Mikel Arteta has built this team for 5 to 6
2020.
seasons. Yes. But now, I think he should have won something.
He said something within the week, and I found it interesting. He says that his team is entering its 5th phase. When he took over, he drew up a 5-phase plan, and phase 5 is the trophy-winning phase. So
and that's when
we are all preempting him.
That's when they've actually retrogressed.
Yeah, they have taken a step back.
That's when they've actually retrogressed.
He says they are about to get into phase 5, or they are just entering phase 5.
He doesn't understand what he's talking about. I do believe he doesn't. Look, this team, as we speak, they don't look like extending Thomas Partey's contract.
Nope. They look like they have a replacement lineup.
What is the guarantee that replacement will come and make them better? Partey, when you plug him out of this Arsenal team, the team is never the same. So if you are refusing to extend such a player's contract, then it means the one that is coming should take the thing beyond where Partey has
You
gone.
want to make a contribution? Just quick.
Go ahead.
Did you watch the Sociedad match? I didn't watch the Man U Sociedad
Yeah,
match.
I did.
I heard everyone saying that Zubimendi did not look good.
No, he didn't look good.
And he was being outplayed by Casemiro. I didn't watch the match. So I want coach to actually
interesting.
go into-
watched the
because
game.
I just want to make a point that when I see Casemiro starting for Man U, I'm concerned. So if Casemiro is outplaying Zubimendi, that's a big concern.
You see, in the Europa Cup or in Europe, the pace is not like the EPL. So if Casemiro seems to be enjoying himself in that competition because of the lack of pace and the lack of intensity. I watched the game on Thursday. Casemiro by far was the best player in midfield. If you put the two midfielders together, he made Zexi, Bruno Fernandes, they were all enjoying themselves. And Zubimendi was nowhere to be found. So Arsenal themselves should be worried. What is the guarantee that they will keep their best players? We all know that Real Madrid are in and around Saliba. Look, that Champions League quarterfinals against Real Madrid, I think it is an audition for Saliba. Should Saliba truly stand in the way of Mbappe and those guys, Real Madrid will show him the cash. And once he sees the money and you look at the vacancy there.
And Saliba and Mbappe have history as old school friends from way back.
He goes to Real Madrid, he starts. And that is an established winning team.
I don't want to tell you about how much
You cannot be
losing a big player like that will have
That's what I'm saying.
The mentality of the
The
team.
only good
care
thing
is
for
not taken.
Arsenal is that he has a very long
He
contract.
has 2 years, at least 2 years left
Yeah,
on
they
the
have-
other.
they have time.
No, 2 years up, he's young. How old is he? 23, 24. So if he tells you he's going, This is the time to cash in on him. If you don't sell him, he will run down.
It will become like a trend situation.
He will run that day. He will go at the age of 25, 26. That is when he's at his peak. And he will go and enjoy his football. So I've got issues with the way Arteta. I think Arteta has shown that it will take a miracle for him to take Arsenal to the next level. He's done so well. Nobody should get me wrong. He's done. We all knew and saw where Arsenal were at the time.
Yeah.
And for him to have brought them to this level,
Yeah.
maybe this is his best.
You know what? I have a philosophy that says that some managers are meant to get a team to a certain level,
And
Others
managers
will come and win the
are meant to win the championship. It can be like that.
I slightly disagree with Coach. I understand all of Coach's points, but for me, I think Arteta has one more season. I think
At least one more season.
Let's see what he does in the summer window. Let's see the recruitments they do. If they were to buy a striker and he still can't win the league, I think he's finished.
No, but the man doesn't believe in buying a striker.
He's been living in denial with that
but you
situation.
see,
Look,
but you see,
up to now, when they raised the issue of buying,
He's been
a
living
striker,
in denial.
but you
He's
see,
not at humble
but you
pie.
see, just because he's not saying it doesn't mean he won't do it. Let's see.
Maybe
And that's
there's
what
some
I'm-
diplomacy.
It's been said for the past 3 seasons.
Yeah,
buy
but
a
that's what I'm
striker.
saying.
Look, the moment he got rid of Aubameyang and got rid of
That's a long time.
But he did buy Gabriel Jesus. He bought a striker.
Gabriel Jesus,
No,
we
but you
all
see,
know. This is a player who has never scored 20 plus
And he
goals.
has
in
money
the
to
league.
buy a striker and bought Havertz.
But he even bought Havertz to play midfield at first. But the point I'm making is I agree with Coach on a lot of these points that the way is looking, their time is coming up.
Look,
That's
it's
why
a
I said,
trajectory. Once the peak, they are going this way.
that's why I'm saying that. And that's why I said that he has a credible excuse in the injuries. I didn't say that he's done well. I say he has a credible excuse
Yeah, but at the end of
that
the
he
day,
can
look,
get away with.
He cannot get away with that. He cannot get
but
away
I
with
don't-
the, no.
I think that
He cannot get away with injuries. He's won nothing to get away.
He's won an FA Cup.
Oh, come on, I beg you. Look, that FA Cup thing, everything wins the FA Cup.
No, but you see, that's why I'm saying that if we see this summer, I'm saying next season,
Yeah.
if he can't win anything,
The man has spent over 600 million
Coach,
pounds.
I understand everything you're saying, but I'm saying that the
One
way
more season.
because I think the way it is, you finish second,
Yeah.
This is everyone thinks you kick on, your best player goes down. I think if Salah goes down, for example, Liverpool are not going to go there.
Do you
Say,
think that Arsenal is not topping the league because Saka got hurt?
I think they'd be a lot closer, and I think considering the way Liverpool are looking, they might have been able to put pressure on. I think
How is Liverpool looking? Look, Liverpool have looked the best team in the league.
no, but Liverpool have started looking a bit.
No,
The
forget
last
about
3 games have been shaky.
forget about those competitions. We are talking about the league.
And even some of
And
their
Arsenal
results,
themselves-
the thing is, their results in the league compared to the first half of the season have been worse.
No, but of course.
But
Is
you
it-
see, Arsenal have also not been able to take advantage because, and that's the point I'm making, that he has the excuse that, oh, Saka wasn't there, Havertz wasn't there. And it's not like I'm saying
we
that.
have sat here.
It's not like I'm saying that he doesn't have
No,
to take some blame for that
we have
because
sat
he
here.
could have bought players. I'm
have
not
sat
saying that
here.
at all. But I'm saying that the
I
players
mean,
not
if
being
your
there.
best player gets injured,
How
you can
your
always
best
have
players
an
not
exception.
there?
The man is missing just one player or 2 players, and his team is in tatters.
Coach, they don't
Your
have a
best
forward
player.
line. They don't have a forward. They have to play Merino.
That
out
is
front.
why. That is why
He has to take the
cannot
blame.
be excused.
Yeah.
That's why he
I
should
think
take the
because,
blame.
because we all discussed the time
Yeah.
here. He had the option of getting potent strikers on loan
He went
for
to
as
spend
cheap as-
50 million
as
on
cheap
an
as
Italian
2 million
defender
euros
that he
or
didn't
3
need.
million euros and didn't do it.
Look,
And that's
Colomwani was Juve paid 1 million.
Cheap.
Just 1 million.
PSG were literally sacking.
They were
around
waiting.
But you see, that's what I'm saying. That they also have a plan, and they had their summer window. Kai Havertz barely gets injured.
Yeah.
You go to Dubai training camp. Kai Havertz finally gets a long-term injury. He had even praised Kai Havertz's fitness in the press just before. Look, I get it. He's failing right now. I'm not going to come here and sit here and say that, but I'm just saying that if you look at it, the board themselves will also think to themselves that, okay, this is probably his last chance.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying, that he's in his last chance saloon. I don't think,
Fair.
I think maybe me and Coach disagree on
I
where the last chance ends.
I think what we disagree on is the time he's had. I think that if you're a big team or you consider yourself a big team, your rebuild time is 3 years.
Exactly.
You don't have more than 3 years to rebuild.
no.
You don't if you want to tear down the house and rebuild from scratch,
And-
3 years is your maximum.
And do you remember after his third season, when he finished fifth, I said they should sack him.
Yep.
It's not
Yep.
like I'm going to come here and
Yep.
sit here and say I'm
Yep.
just different. I said they should sack him because
I'm surprised
he
they
should,
haven't.
he should have got to the Champions League by then, and he failed. Because that was the bare minimum.
Well, the interesting thing is that all the Kroenke sports franchises are winning major titles. Arsenal have become the only ones who have been left out. I'm not sure if Stan is happy about how things are going.
That's why I said I think that if he goes to the board and they do their post-season and that kind, you say Odegaard got injured for this number of months, then Saka got injured. He will have an excuse that when he brings, the board can say, okay, this is credible. So let's give you another chance. That's the point I'm making.
Well,
so going into next season, right? If you look at, when these players get hurt, we cannot play football.
Yeah.
As a manager, you should be thinking about how we address it now. Because maybe it's not something it's hard to face. You're also looking at, we don't score goals. So if he doesn't address these things in the next window, and he comes and brings the same excuses next season, it's very simple for us to say that this guy doesn't learn from his mistakes, and he's not serious.
Fair. Let's take a break here on the show. Let's catch our breath a little. When we come back, we'll get into some cup final action. I'll read some of your messages, and then we'll go into other leagues as well. Stay with us here on Scorecard. Welcome back to Scorecard here on Channel 1 TV. Let me read a few of your messages before we go on. This one.
I thought you put up your face and tell people why your face has changed.
Oh, don't do that.
When we were coming from the break, you were smiling. And said you let people know why. Now coach is also smiling. Tell people why I'm smiling.
It's not necessary. We will not tell anybody why anybody is doing.
No, I think as a you are feeling as you have to let it.
No, hold on. You see, you are preempting the action. We are bringing the party to your house.
Do
not go out and meet the party on the streets.
Okay. After you read the messages, you update the.
We'll soon get there. Okay. Let me read the messages. So this one here says, "Good evening, team. First time texting. My team United won today, and I'm very happy. First 2 goals came from players who haven't scored in a while. Coach Apeki and that's why I'm sending him that message. I think you should add your name next time you're sending a message. So this one is Ebo Isaac, aka Aze, watching live from Sakumono Village. Big shout outs to the people in Sakumono and Sakumono Village. I know that place really well. This one says, good evening, Kojo Fundamentals. That's interesting. Numo and Statsman. Very, very. I think United and Chelsea need to play an extra match at the end of the season so that loser gets Sancho, since Chelsea are kind of running away from their obligation to buy. They will sell out. It says they will sell out Wembley. Each team should fight for their life. How can a player be this bad?
When I told them they shouldn't have gone for him.
You know they were excited after the first 3 games.
Because you see the goals and the assists were coming.
They had 2 assists. They were excited.
I had a friend. He's a Chelsea supporter. He said that you messaged the group chat. Sancho has changed my life.
I can't believe this. I mean, how can you be this bad? Like, a team who loaned you don't want you back. And the team who said they'll buy you say they are changing their mind.
Remember last week I prayed that Marcus Rashford should stay good. He should just
Rashford is way better than Sancho. As for Sancho, I think, you know, I'm not even going to discuss or waste time on this, but I feel like his fall from grace is a clear example of lack of effort.
Yeah, lack of effort.
I don't know. I don't know if it is a lack of dedication.
Discipline.
Because I don't think he lacks talent. I don't think so.
He doesn't want to challenge himself. Comfort zone.
Yeah. Interesting. Let's get to the cup action. Let's get to that game between Liverpool and Newcastle United. Liverpool were looking to overcome the disappointment of exiting the Champions League at the hands of PSG. It looks like they are still enduring the hangover of that exit. They lost in a game where probably the scoreline should have been bigger in favor of Newcastle United. Let's get the highlights. So congratulations to Newcastle United for winning the League Cup. Major feat for Eddie Howe, major feat for the Magpies. Let me start to you, Susu, on this particular one. So it's 3 games now since Liverpool played a decent football match, counting back to the first leg of the UEFA Champions League round of 16. What's going on with them?
I have no idea. It's very difficult to tell because you look at this Newcastle team, there's no Anthony Gordon, there was no Lewis Hall, who's been their starting left back. They moved Livramento, they brought in Kieran Trippier. And I think he also Trippier at this age versus Luis Diaz. But the first half, look, it took Liverpool about 45 minutes to get a shot on target. Or a shot. I can't quite remember which one it was. The first half, it was just all Newcastle.
Yeah.
And they scored their goal, and you're like, okay, Liverpool, show us what you can do. The second half, more of the same. Newcastle even have the goal disallowed. It was just a very difficult performance. And you wonder why they were so poor. Because this was a match they were favorites. This was a match you expected them to win. I thought they'd win it even comfortably, to be honest. I thought this was an easy 2-0. They score an early goal, and they managed the game like they've managed so many games so well. Kind of compress the space. Newcastle pushed forward, naively tried to get a goal. Liverpool hit them on the counter, easy 2-0, and they get their trophy. But it was none of that. Like, they just did not show up. I think Mohamed Salah did not show up. I think, look.
That's 3 games running.
Yeah, and this is apparently the first time he's played a game for Liverpool. He hasn't had a shot on target or created a chance. It was that bad. I don't think he had a shot the whole game. He was just there. And sometimes when a player like that doesn't even get a chance, you have to ask yourself, what was going on behind him? Because sometimes some of these players, you need to get them the ball in good positions. Where was Salah getting the ball? What were his teammates doing? So I think there was a systemic failure with Liverpool today. They just didn't turn up. It's like Newcastle wanted it more. They fought for it. They got it. And they brought joy to a City that's not had joy for
the scoreline flattered Liverpool because this could have been easily 3-4-1.
Seriously, it really flattered them. But I want to also say something about the set piece defending. You wouldn't expect to concede that set piece because the header was come from a bit far out. But I think the mistake was putting McAllister on Dan Burn. I think that wasn't fair to
Dan Burn is a big guy.
Dan Burn was probably the biggest guy on the pitch, if not, apart from maybe Virgil van Dijk, and you put McAllister on him. You've not given him the best chance of success. So sometimes I think teams need to not always be wedded to this zonal marking set pieces. Sometimes look at the biggest guy on the pitch and put the biggest guy on your team next to him to make it more difficult for him. Because I do believe if it was Van Dijk or who was the other centre back, was it Konate? Konate,
you can at least alter the direction of the header.
Challenging Dan Burn in the air for that header, it might have been a different story.
Coach, I'm not sure if you're worried about Liverpool because some people are beginning to worry about them.
No, they'll win the league. That's what the league is. I don't expect them with 9 games to go to throw away a 12 points. It will be,
especially the way Arsenal play.
It will be the record of this league. But look, on this game, I think so many things went wrong, starting from the coach himself. And Slot got his selection wrong. I think when it came to who to lead the line. When I saw Jota to be the player leading the line, it meant that Liverpool had to play differently. They had to play like Liverpool normally plays. Get on the ball, compel Gravenberch, McAllister, and Szoboszlai
to dominate
the ball and play through the channels. But what actually happened today, you went for Jota, and you kept hitting those long balls from Van Dijk, from Konate, from Robertson, and then from Kwanzaa. That was the first half. And that is unacceptable. And it takes a coach to prompt everybody. The one we are playing up there, he cannot win those balls against the very big Dan Burn, and then, no, he's not going to win them. So play through the channels. But unfortunately for them, Gravenberch, McAllister, and Szoboszlai could not bypass the press of the 3 Newcastle midfielders in Tonali.
In fact, today, I think that was their biggest problem. They could barely hold on to the ball for 5 seconds.
So I just want to add something. I saw a stat that Bruno Guimaraes won more duels than the whole Liverpool midfield combined.
So for Mohamed Salah to show up where he plays, it depends on these 3 in the middle. And go back to all the games that Salah has excelled. Liverpool has virtually dominated the football. Or if not, their transitional play has been excellent. It's always started from occasionally we have Virgil van Dijk giving those diagonals from 70, 80 yards. But that cannot be the norm against a very big, strong, powerful Newcastle team. They will deal with that. Now, Sosa said something. Again, I want to blame the Liverpool manager. Look at what happened. Anytime Liverpool got a corner kick, Dan Burn go and he marked Virgil van Dijk. But when it is the other way around, then Liverpool leaves McAllister to go and mark Dan Burn. What sort of coaching was that? They cannot tell me. And his Slot and his entire technical team, the video analysts watching the play with minute after minute, cannot tell me.
And McAllister's a short guy.
Exactly. Cannot tell me they didn't see that.
Zonal because if you see where McAllister was at the edge of the
Yes,
box,
that was
that's
one of
not
my-
a
you see-
very high risk
area. So okay, we can. But you see, the delivery of the Newcastle corner was made sure that both Van Dijk and Konate was taken out of the play. Newcastle were not going first pole or middle. They were hitting the ball beyond Van Dijk and Konate.
Even the disallowed goal.
Yes, they were hitting the ball beyond these two. So what Arne Slot simply needed to do was to at least sacrifice one of his trusted headers of the ball to go and mark Newcastle's most dangerous player on the set piece, and that was done bad. They didn't do that, or he didn't do that, and then they paid for it. And then what actually took my breath away was when Arne Slot started tweaking. He was changing. You could see that. What sort of changing was it? He changed this man, changed man. He was bringing anybody like Chiesa. Yes, Chiesa came, he scored. But go and watch. There was Chiesa. There was Gakpo. There was Salah.
He was trying to
there was
do-
Nunez.
he
there
just
was
threw
Elliott.
everything.
Desperation
There was
time.
Gravenberch. And
Threw in the
he-
kitchen sink.
He now requested that Gravenberch should go and play as one of the centre backs. I was asking
And
myself.
then he eventually removed him, and they
That
did
was
Kwanzaa.
panic station. And I was like, come on, man. You've done so well.
Very
But
uncharacteristic.
this is the game where I think he exposed himself so badly that the way people rate him,
They would raise
you have
eyebrows
to
a
begin
little.
to look at him again because look, as to why Darwin Núñez, Liverpool only became a proper attacking threat when Darwin Núñez entered the game because he could match up to the physicality of the Newcastle centre back. He is very physical.
And he's a chaos station.
And he's
He
a chaos
creates-
station.
he creates a lot
space.
of- yeah.
And Liverpool only came into the game when he got. And I was
You
asking
can
myself,
tell Arne Slot is not a fan of Darwin Núñez.
no, but he needs to be smart as a manager. I was telling myself after the first half, I was telling those, I was like, look, if I'm the coach, Darwin Núñez starts.
No, you said it. You said it.
He should. He waited
Yeah.
and waited after Liverpool conceded the second goal before you threw him in. And I think, look, and it's lot.
I think Coach even said it before halftime.
Yeah, I
think
said
it was
that.
like around 40, 35 minutes. You said it.
I should bring
And
down
Newcastle are a very combative
Look,
team. Like they don't.
they are very physical.
Yep.
If you don't match up to their physicality, look
Yeah.
at Bournemouth. Was it Bournemouth here? Bournemouth beat them 3-0 at St. James'.
It was like 4.
4.
Yeah.
Bournemouth could do that because they could match up to their physicality
Yeah.
and outpace them. Those guys are physical, but they are not very pacey. The Newcastle team is not a very pacey team,
Yeah.
apart from maybe
Isaac
Gordon. But Gumarej, Joelinton, Tonali,
Yep.
Damben, those are
Tonali
very
had a really good game
very
today.
slow. So they play in the channel. That's why they tend to demarcate. With the moment they take the lead, they cut an area. They don't mind whatever you do there. When you get into their zone, they pounce and then they deal with you. So Arne Slot, to me, today, he didn't coach Liverpool well.
Let me just take quick thoughts on Eddie Howe and what this means for him as a Newcastle manager. Big trophy. They haven't seen a trophy like this. There was a Newcastle fan at the roadshow today who was super excited.
Emotional.
Yeah,
You see?
very
Look,
emotional.
for Eddie Howe, as an English manager, I think right now he's the best English manager because clearly we've not seen an English manager consistently win trophies. He's won a trophy.
Yep.
He took over Newcastle during the relegation zone. If you remember, we all were like, are we sure he's the manager?
Yep.
He kept them up very comfortably, got them into the Champions League. Now he's won a trophy. I think he's shown that he was the right man
I
for the
hope
job.
Arteta is watching because this is proper progress. This is proper progress.
And that's what everyone has been saying today on social media, that Eddie Howe is showing Arteta how it's
It's
done
as simple as
with
that.
less money spent and less
Less money
resources.
spent.
Frankly speaking,
He
it's
has
something
made his players better. He has made average players better.
Yeah, exactly. And for Eddie Howe, this is great for his career because, look, Thomas Tuchel is probably only there until after the
They've
2026
given him
World Cup.
an 18-month contract after the World
So
Cup.
if you're Eddie Howe, that England job is there. And there might be another job out there for you. They might, look, the Chelsea job might become available soon. The Arsenal job, depending on what Arteta ends up doing, they are big jobs. Even Man City, what is going to happen with Pep? Because you don't know how the owners might feel, how Pep himself might feel. There's a lot of interesting jobs in the Premier League opening up. And by winning this, showing that you can take Newcastle from where they were to where they are now,
I think
it
they're
bodes
still
very
in the
well.
FA Cup, huh?
Yes, I believe so. So look, I think it looks very good for them.
Eddie Howe, Newcastle United, looking good so far, picking up the League Cup against Liverpool. Let's get one more highlight and let's go to Spain for that game between Real Madrid and Villarreal. Real Madrid won that game by 2-1. Very close game. Let's get the highlights. So Real Madrid Football Club, narrow win there. Coach, Barca have won as well tonight. Real Madrid were hoping for a favor from Atletico. I was hoping Atletico would be more competitive in this game since they went 2 goals up. But hey, looks like they don't want the title.
So tell us the final score. I think
it's 4-2.
Yes,
yeah, 4-2.
So
as
it
stands, Barcelona is now, I think, 4 points. If they win the outstanding, it will be 7 points off away from Atletico. So it's now become a 2-horse race. Real Madrid will be coming. They collected 4-0 the first one. They will come and collect another 4, and that will be 8. And that will be clean.
So, Coach, what's the 8? What's that? You do your Ayoko, and what's 8?
8 is 8 is Lamley.
Oh, okay.
They'll come and collect. So, look, Barca I need the team to beat. Look, I did say that this league is Real Madrid's to lose. This Barca young players, you see, you don't get young players do things the way they are doing. It's so out of the moon and out of this world. If Barca can stand the ground and go and win this league title, look, it is clear they would have done something amazing. And like I said it and I'll repeat it here. The same thing I said during the Euros. Any team that beats Barca, it's not because the team will be better than them. It's because Barca will fail to take their chances. They will create more chances than any team in the world. They will outplay any team in the world. So you should just hope that they have one of those bad days. They came from a 2-0 down. With 15 minutes to go, they scored 4 straight.
And they were having one of those bad days when the game started. Because they had chances and they
weren't taking it.
Atleti took the lead. Atleti scored again.
It's very unlike Atletico to go 2 goals up and let in 4 goals.
Last week, they threw away a lead with just 3 minutes
to end the game. So I don't know. They've been very uncharacteristic.
I want to talk about Kylian Mbappe before we do. I think he's having a very good season. I think he scored 30 goals. He's adjusted very well. And I think people are not talking about it because everyone expects him to
This is his standard.
But look, 30 goals for a new team, especially when people were talking about them at the beginning of the season. What's the chemistry like? What's he's doing very well. So I think we should also
give him his flowers.
We should give him his flowers. I think it's not easy to do what he's done. So
Big ups to Kylian Mbappe, and he's still on pace to break the La Liga record, I believe, for all competitions goals scored in a debut season. So let's see how that goes. Thank you very much, Coach. Thank you very much, Susu Graham. Thank you to all of you who sent in messages and made time to watch the show as well. Thanks to the crew for making the show happen. Same time next week, Scorecard will be back on your screens.